Hey everybody, Captain Lou here with another edition of Tigers Daily in partnership with the Fan Arch Network. Happy Sunday, July the 19th, 2026. We'd want to take this moment, as always, to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Tigers Daily. You get all of the updates, all of our opinions, whatever, the good, the bad, everything in between. That's with Tigers Daily here on the YouTube channel. For those of you that have subscribed, I say thank you again from the bottom of my heart. We've had great response here on the network, on the channel, and we just love doing this. And for those of you that have interacted with the comments, again, I thank you as well. It makes it so much fun as we bring you our daily updates here on the Tigers on Tigers Daily. Well, happy Sunday, as we said, and what a great start to the second half of the season for the Tigers. What Friday night in Anaheim, the Tigers were down to their last out. And how about it? How you doing? How you Lee came up to the plate with runners in scoring position, and he got the double with 2 outs, right center field, to give the Tigers a 2-1 lead, and they hung on for dear life in the bottom of the 9th inning. Kiter Montero, a great job in relief for the Tigers. I'll tell you, this has been a secret weapon for the Tigers here in the last month and a half since Flaherty came back from the disabled list. 3 1/3 innings of shutout relief for the Tigers. He came on for Troy Melton. Melton pitched great. Shaky first inning Friday night. 27 pitches in that opening inning, gave up a run, but he thwarted it at 1 run. The Tigers' bats were silent for most of the night. Looked a little lethargic maybe at times, but in the 9th inning, they got it done. And that's what teams need to do if they want, and especially the Tigers, if they want to keep pace in the American League for a playoff spot. Melton went 5 2/3 innings, got just enough done, held down the Angels to that 1 run, and as we mentioned, Montero with the 3 1/3 innings of work for the Tigers. Bottom of the 9th, the Angels had the opportunities. Kevin McConaughey made one heck of a play to keep a runner off the scoreboard at third base, getting the out. And then with runners on second and third, Montero was able to get out of the jam for the Tigers. So Friday night's game was a great start for the second half of the season for the Tigers. Late night game on Saturday. And then, of course, we've got the finale today as Casey Mize is on the bump. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. All right, we talk at times about, the Tigers being buyers and sellers. We make it a daily ritual here on Tigers Daily. Here's one that I've been hearing. It's been making the rounds towards the end of the week and then yesterday. And this is a crazy scenario. I know it's probably a long shot. But, hey, we've been talking about scenarios for the Tigers. Should they get pitching help? Should they get another right-handed bat? Should they get some power? Is Bo Bichette, if you listen to the Mets, they're in full-blown sell mode right now in New York. They said everybody really is available, maybe except for Juan Soto. What about Bo Bichette? Now, I know that he just signed that long-term deal with the Mets, but it's got a couple of out clauses after next year. What would you think about bringing him back to the American League, bringing him to Motown? Now, it'd be kind of a sentimental thing for me because I watched him play in Lansing when he was with the Toronto Blue Jays single A affiliate, him and Vladdy Guerrero Jr., and boy, they had some pop. And it would be a lot of fun to bring him to Detroit. Now, I know the asking price is going to be big. It could be one of our starting arms. They might want somebody, one of our top prospects, Rainier or Max Clark or Anderson. And I wouldn't do that. But if they could swing a deal with the Mets sometimes make Scott Harris and the Detroit Tigers look like Einstein over there. So maybe Detroit could swing a deal. Maybe get somebody in the minor leagues. I don't know, a different arm potentially. Throw Andrew Sears over there. Maybe a Chris Rodriguez, Therian Liranzano rather, or Lorenzo. I always mix up his name, but I know it's a long shot. I get it. It's just something to keep in mind. I thought maybe the Tigers would, again, it's something to think about. The Tigers keep winning. They're going to be buyers. And, again, the schedule sets up for the Tigers to make a decent run. They got the opening game Friday night, as I mentioned. a lot's going to really depend on what Detroit does here in the next week or so with the schedule. If they can keep the winning ways going, they've won 7 out of their last 10. They're leaning towards being buyers, and there's a good opportunity. There's a good possibility that we could see Skubal still staying in Detroit. So, again, just an idea to throw out there. I know a lot of them are pipe dreams, if you will, but I just saw that and I heard about it and I thought, why not Bo? Why not bring him to Detroit? I think that it would be good theater, and it would be another big stick. He's got 11 home runs. He's batting .253 for the Mets, but as we said, the Mets are in sell mode right now. They're floundering in the National League East, one of the biggest underachievers in Major League Baseball over the last, I don't know, half decade or so at least. So who knows? Bringing Bo to Detroit, I think it'd be fun, but at what cost? I think you would see Detroit having to give up a lot, and then you'd have to wonder really if it's worth it to bring him in and put him in Motown for the Tigers. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. All right, we got some Tiger updates for you. Some exciting, I don't know if it's exciting news, but encouraging news. Javi Baez, we talked about him yesterday. It's a potential that he might be coming back to Detroit in August. He's going to start running the bases. I know it doesn't sound like a lot. He took live batting practice. Now he's going to be running the bases, and if everything goes well, who knows? Maybe he might get a rehab assignment and progress further to get back to Detroit in August. His stick was coming around. We could use, obviously, his fielding prowess out in center field. It would just be another weapon for the Tigers. I think it'd be a great idea. So, if we can get him back, obviously. But Baez, he's on track. I know it's been a long rehab for that ankle injury. It was a pretty severe ankle injury back in April. But Baez is back to everyday work, at least on rehab, and he's going to start running the bases, and after that, they'll take a look at it. As far as Gleyber Torres, he played again yesterday in a rehab assignment in Lakeland. They were going to bring some of the players up to Erie or potentially Toledo, but with the wildfire smoke and the air quality as bad as it is here in the Midwest, Cleveland postponed their game on Friday night. Some of the other minor league games have been postponed. I know the teams around Major League Baseball that have domes are closing the stadium. Milwaukee is even offering ticket exchanges if you don't want to travel out. It's bad. So they're going to have their rehab assignment still in Lakeland. But it looks like that Torres he's on the fast track to come back to Detroit next week, potentially against the Chicago Cubs. Another weapon for the Tigers. And it's going to be interesting. How you doing, as we mentioned, Hao-Yu Lee with that clutch double on Friday night. It's going to create some more weapons for Detroit, maybe some trade chips, who knows. But Torres looks like he's going to be back in Detroit next week. Jackson Jobe with another rehab stint this weekend in Lakeland. And Birch Smith is going to be making a rehab start. He made one on Friday night. So another name that's been on the injured list, if you will. He's coming back with another opportunity. He's got a rehab start in Lakeland as well. And then we also had a comment the other day. How about Reese Olson? Well, he's done for the year. He's going to be coming back next year. So, but hopefully he's on pace to come back and get back in the Tiger rotation next year as well. And something here we heard yesterday, we talk about Tiger updates. I saw this yesterday. And it was released actually on Friday, or Thursday probably. The 2027 Detroit Tigers schedule is out. Now, I can't remember who they're playing right away in that opener, but it's going to be March 25th in Comerica Park. It gets earlier and earlier every year for the Tigers, and Major League Baseball for that matter. And that's not even the first day of baseball in 2027. That's the day before. March 25th. I mean, really, I hope you're packing your long johns. I hope you're packing your parka if you're planning to go to Comerica Park or whatever it's going to be named next year in 2027. And then the other thing to keep in mind is this is tentative. It's always going to be tentative. And I say that because with the CBA expiring at the end of this year, who knows when the Tigers are going to start. But with that being said, the start of the season is going to be March 25th, the earliest and the first time they play a March ball game at Comerica Park. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, if I had my way, which obviously I'm just a fan, like I say, I wouldn't be starting baseball until at least after March Madness in the middle of April, but it gets earlier and earlier every year. It's insane. I know they'll get a good crowd at Comerica for the first game. They always do for the opener. But March 25th, are you kidding me? It's getting out of hand. But, with Major League Baseball, like we said, it's like every other sport. They're trying to capitalize on every dollar they can. But March 25th, to me, is a little bit out of hand. All right, we're going to end here by just reminding you that coming up today, 4:07, it's going to be the opening game, or the series finale for the Tigers, as it's going to be Ryan Anderson taking the bump for the Halos against Casey Mize for the Tigers. The Tigers looking to keep it going against the Angels. And then, of course, they'll head to Chicago for the opener of 3. The starting the rotation against the Cubs still hasn't been posted, so we'll keep an eye on that. Framber Valdez is still on bereavement. I believe he's eligible to come off today, so we'll see if he makes a start. Kiter Montero pitched 3 1/3 on Friday night. I don't know if that'll push him to one of the spots against Chicago, if they're going to pitch him against Chicago, or if they're going to wait, maybe pitch him against Kansas City in that 4-game set. We'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, we'll have that for you on Monday, the starting rotation for the series against Chicago. But right now, nobody is posted for the Tigers. Nothing up on the websites or anything. So we're not sure who's going to be in the pitching rotation exactly against the Cubs Monday through Wednesday in Chicago. But tonight, or this afternoon, rather later on this afternoon, it's going to be Casey Mize taking the mound as Detroit looks to keep it rolling. The standings right now, as of Friday night anyways, the Tigers still 3.5 games out of that wild card spot. Chicago won on Friday night, so Detroit went into Saturday's games with a 6.5 game lead, or a deficit Detroit was 6.5 games behind the White Sox. Cleveland with that postponed game, we're going to make it up in a doubleheader. So we'll keep an eye on all that. We'll get you completely up to date again tomorrow on the standings in Major League Baseball. Kind of throws a monkey wrench when you're playing out west, as the Tigers are this weekend against the Halos. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Tigers Daily. Again, I want to remind everybody, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've had great turnout. And we appreciate everybody that has. And for those of you that have taken in the videos, we're doing really well. And if it weren't for you, obviously we wouldn't be able to make this happen as we partner up with the Fan Arch Network. For those that have watched, I say again, thank you. Thanks for taking time out to be with us. However you're watching around the world, here on Tigers Daily and the Fan Arch Network. For those of you in Michigan and the Midwest and the East Coast for that matter, stay safe with all the air quality, with the wildfire smoke. We want to make sure that you're with us for a long time watching these Tiger Daily episodes. Until next time, Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. So long.